back shot at the moment, sorting himself out and making himself look really pretty, which just doesn't mean he needs to do too much.
Johnny.
Hello, Dale. How are you, mate? Good to see you.
Good. Nice to see you as well.
Brilliant, brilliant. As you can see, we've got some nice little, starting with our new little backdrop and Photo Rangers logo up there. Okay, so let's talk about, for the listeners, let's do this. For the listeners, can you introduce yourself, which I've already done, but do it anyway, and tell them what you do as far as what your business is and with Photo Rangers.
Yeah, sure, Johnny. So we're Photo Rangers, and what we do is adventure-based photography workshops and tours around Phillip Island and Wilson's Prom. So we've got licenses to conduct tours and workshops in areas here on the island and at the prom.
You're pretty lucky to have those licenses, mate.
Yeah. Look, it's a bit of a process to go through that, but we're up and running.
And some of the real beautiful places as well, which is
right.
quite unique as far as touring groups here on the island and where you guys go.
We do, and what we do is we take people that the places that they probably would never have gone before. They're not places that you can see on the tourist map when you come in.
Even locals can't go.
They're some of the most beautiful spots on the island, and I think in Australia. So we're really lucky to live here amongst it, and we want to share it with other people. And we want to do two things, Johnny. We want to teach people how to take photos. So that's one of the things we do. But the other thing that we do is we also teach them about the ecosystem and the sensitivity of the island environment and the whole biogeography. So we're teaching people what they're actually taking photos of and the significance of it. So that's, there's a couple of passions, or a few passions of ours: photography, environment, and teaching, and we all combine it together in Photo Rangers.
And do a really good job of it. So if you actually jump on Photo Rangers' Facebook page and have a look at some of their photos, they're just phenomenal. I just wish you could get a massive screen with some of those photos, because with that projector phone I showed you, you can absolutely. I took a whole side of the house up. It was just beautiful. You can really fall into those sorts of photos, and
they look good big.
Oh, they're just lovely, that size. So let's just cover some of the topics. We're going to be talking about editing today.
So we're talking about editing tonight. I think we've talked about some night photography in the past, and we've talked about
what was it? Edit or not to edit?
To edit or not to edit? That is the question.
All right, exactly.
And I think I've got the answer for you, Johnny. So I'll tell you about that. Hey, before we jump into things, I just wanted to let people know that if you're interested in booking something with us, you can check out our Facebook page. Just search Photo Rangers on Facebook. You'll find us there. You'll find an event calendar there, or look on our website and contact us, and we'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Oh, perfect. Right. Now, one last thing is, which you do a really, really, really good job about, is let's recognise the. Can you do that for us? Can you do our?
You bet, Johnny. We're visitors to this land, and I'd like to pay my respects and acknowledge the traditional owners of the land, the Boonwurrung people, their ancestors or elders, and many Boonwurrung who happen to be listening here today.
All right, terrific. Thanks very much. One last thing is, so we're going to go into the editing side, but there's also something pretty special that we'll announce towards the end, and it's about our broadcast from Market on Main, and where you guys are going to be. That's going to be a bit of fun at about 8:30, quarter to 9 New Year's Eve.
We're not going to be at the market, Johnny.
No, you're not.
But we'll talk about where we're going to be, what we're going to be doing, and how much fun we're going to have.
Yeah, it's going to be brilliant. Okay, so let's get into it. I'll pull up the page that we'll have a look at, and what we're going to do, people, is I'm also going to, just as we do this, I'm also going to do a live Facebook broadcast for when Dale is explaining to me the differences between the actual photos that we have and that we're looking at, so that you get to look at them as well, and we'll put that towards our overall segment with the video segment in the future as well.
Yes.
So looking forward to that. So just as we do
so
that.
You can, if you're on Facebook and if you go to PIWR Radio, you can see the examples that I'll be talking about tonight and follow along with us.
Yeah, right on. Okay, so let's talk about this. So we're talking about editing, and as I get set, do you want to just fill in some bits and pieces? So
okay, well, look, I'll just talk about that, because we get people who come to the workshop, and a lot of times they go, "Oh, look, just teach me how to use the camera. I need to learn how to use my camera, and I don't really care about editing because I want it looking just like it came out of the camera," which is fine. But Johnny, I'm not a photojournalist. I'm not out to document a news story. Photojournalists, so those journalists that works for Rutgers and Associated Press and those kind of things, they take photos in a particular way and they upload them straight out of their camera to their news agency so that there's no editing, no embellishment involved. It's just as it happened. That's not the kind of photos we're taking. I don't really care about just as it happened or it looking exactly like I see it. I'm a storyteller. I'm an artist. I'm a photographer.
Okay,
and so what I'm trying to do in photography is actually create mood or reactions or keep people's interest and attention in a photo.
All right, so let's talk about these photos here. This photo here that you point that I'm pointing at the moment, that's the original photo.
Okay, so now Johnny's got open a series of 4 photos. I've kind of all put together into one image, and they're the exact same shot. I've just edited them a little differently and using some different processes. So Johnny's pointing to the very first one, so the one on the left, and there's a little tag up above that image or that part that says unedited JPEG. Your cameras, most cameras, and particularly all mirrorless and DSLR cameras, shoot in 2 different formats. They shoot in JPEG and they shoot in a format called RAW.
Yes.
Now, everybody knows JPEG. Everybody knows and loves JPEG. That's the one that you stick on the web. That's the one your cameras use.
Yes.
It's a traditional format, and it is the reason we use it on the internet is because it compresses the file.
Right. So it makes it quick.
It's quick. It's small, but the problem with it is it doesn't capture all of the information that's out there.
Like that.
Yeah. So if you look at that photo, that is straight out of the camera, and that's a well exposed image. So it's taken about as well as you can take it.
Yeah.
You notice that the 2 surfers are in shadow quite a bit. The sky, the waves, and the sand are all fairly well exposed. They're not too bright, they're not too dark, but it's just kind of meh for me.
Yeah.
It's just not all that exciting.
I'm with you. So let's go to the next one.
So, I'm going to go to the third one first.
Oh, okay. Getting all confusing on me now.
So, I'm jumping around on you. But this came out of my camera, and as I'm at home looking at it, I'm thinking, this one here. I want this image to have kind of a 1970s feel to it. That kind of, I don't know, the kind of a warm 1970s feel. And so I edited this photo. In the RAW file, which is the file format that is much more robust than a JPEG, and that's what you get. The third image there, you can see the shadows have been kind of pulled out of the 2 surfers.
This is a RAW file, but it's edited though, isn't it?
It's an edited RAW file. So as I mentioned, the RAW file that your camera can shoot that contains a lot more information than the JPEG. So I can actually, when I start editing it, allows me to do a lot more edit to it.
Right.
But I edited that one in a particular way. I matted the blacks or made the blacks look a little bit flat.
Yes,
so they're not shiny blacks. I kind of gave it a little bit of a grain, like an old grainy photo. And that's the feeling that I wanted with that image.
Perfect.
Now, when I was thinking about doing this segment with you, I thought, hey, what happened? What if I edited the JPEG out of that same image? Because when I take photos with my camera, I'm shooting a JPEG and a RAW at the same time. So I had the JPEG file.
Okay, yeah.
And so I pulled that up today, and I tried to do the exact same edit. And if you notice, I can't do exactly the same kind of thing. You'll notice that
JPEG and RAW. These
that's
are the
right.
two
The
edited
colors
ones
look a little bit different. It's a little more. I don't quite have the control over the pixels that I do with a RAW file. Right. So that's why when I'm going to edit, I edit the RAW file.
Okay, perfect.
Now the last one over there, Johnny.
Yes.
I got to thinking, well, what if I wanted to do something a little different? And so I edited this file again today, and I edited the RAW file again, and I did it in a black and white. And what I wanted to show here is that Are you pointing?
Yes, I'm pointing. I'm pointing while you're speaking.
I'm watching Johnny here do some interesting things. Okay, that's pointing. Okay. So I edited this black and white one, and what I wasn't really happy with just turning it black and white. Like, you could just use a filter on your phone or something and just make it black and white.
Yeah.
But it didn't really look that good because the contrast between the surfers and the waves wasn't all that great. So what I did on this photo is I darkened the sky just a little bit. Oh, look, there's my finger now.
Yeah.
It's unless you're following along live on Facebook, you're not getting all this.
Yeah,
but then I created a beam of light. So the sun was coming from the right top side of that photo.
Yes.
And I created this lighter area so that the surfers actually contrasted more and stood out against the water. And I got a really strong silhouette and made a really powerful contrast there. And that's what I wanted in that photo. So
it's subtle though at the same time, though, isn't it?
and I guess that's the whole thing about the editing is I don't really care if it looks like I saw it in real life. That's not my aim. But what I want to make sure I don't do is what we call overcooking the file.
Yeah, okay.
Have you ever seen somebody and they put a new app on their phone, editing app, and they use it, and you look at the photos and they just kind of go, whoa, that's a bit out there.
Yeah.
So you can go over the top with any kind of editing. And so what I try to do is try to make it fairly subtle, but also try to, as I mentioned earlier, evoke a feeling or tell a story.
Yeah.
And in that third one there, I wanted to tell a story of a different time, back, several, 40 years ago.
Yeah.
And a summer's day on the island, and that's what I was going for there.
Let's just move for an example, because you've spoken about that, and there's a photo you've edited in black and white, and there's the photo there. So you're saying you've added some light through here and used the black and white just for the feature.
Yep.
But listeners, listeners and viewers at the moment, thank you very much. We're going to move on to this other picture if I can. So what we've been talking about is here's a great original photo, this one here. And
yes.
As far as editing, what confuses me is when you edit and you get this picture, which is the real delicate shots that you'll have of the brickwork. So you're not really editing; you're just getting the access to.
That's right. So this was taken at Cadillac Canyon in Boar Beach, San Remo, and the JPEG image on the left, if you're following along, it's the canyon shot or the water shot. On the left is what's coming out of the camera. Now, if you see that, the right side of those rocks is really black and really dark. And in the JPEG, that's pretty much the way it is. If I try to lighten those rocks up in an editing app or something like that, what I'm going to get is grey looking rocks.
Yeah, right.
It's actually not going to show me a lot of detail because it just isn't there. But the raw file that my camera captures, you look at the one on the right, I got every bump, color, and highlight of those rocks, and it's there. I just have to bring it out.
Right, so this is a great example of what you can edit with JPEG. That's what you're going to get.
That's right. Yep.
With a raw file, this is what you're going to get. The amazing thing is you've taken out the darkness, and it's showing that actual image is actually in that photo.
Yeah, that's right.
It's in that photo. The amazing.
And some people go, "Did you Photoshop that?" And no, I didn't Photoshop it.
Well, that's it's Photoshop that, but no. Now this is a great example, and for people to know in the future, that is a shot. But there is a great cleaned up shot of something of.
Not only can you be looking at the rocks there, Johnny, but look at that water. So that water in the JPEG file looks pretty smooth and a little bit cottony.
Yes.
But there's actually quite a bit of detail and depth in that water. So if you look at the JPEG one, it's actually you'll see lots of lines and detail in the water that makes it look so much more interesting.
Yeah, right. Okay, looks like we've got some people sending us some stuff, so we'll have a chat to them in a moment. Okay, so let's do you want me to go back to the very first one? And
we can just keep on going.
All right, perfect. Because I'm probably going to end this live broadcast in a moment.
Okay, and this is the last image that I prepared tonight.
This is pretty.
Is just a classic one of the pinnacles. You know, we all have, probably almost everybody on the island have hiked up to that lookout, and you've probably taken this shot at sunset. And no matter what kind of camera you have, I think I told you earlier today, I was talking to a fella who's been out on a workshop with us, and he had a $13,000 Leica camera. His shots look just like that. So it doesn't matter the how much your camera costs or what kind. That's just the limitations of technology.
I don't want to know if he uses the auto setting. I don't want to know.
He was out with me, Johnny. He was all manual. Okay.
Good, very good.
But
okay, so
the one on the bottom is just a very simple, very quick edit of the raw file in Adobe Lightroom CC.
It's amazing that you can get the darker color out.
That's right.
And still have the actual picture, the picture
that's right.
itself.
And we call that just lifting the shadows pretty much, and that's what we're doing there, is we're lifting the shadows out of that image.
So that's the amazing thing. And when it comes to these sorts of photos, I'm going to stop it here. So people, hope you enjoy the live broadcast. You can listen to this broadcast, and it'll be on an encore later on tonight as well. So on the live broadcast, we're just going to finish that now with on Facebook. But look, I think it's absolutely brilliant with how you've explained that. It becomes, I think it's quite confusing for many people.
It is confusing. And I'll just tell you a little bit about JPEG and RAW and when to shoot and when not to shoot, or what my kind of rule of thumb. There's nothing wrong with shooting a JPEG file, and I shoot them when I'm in an environment or I'm in a situation that doesn't have big differences in light.
Yeah.
So like if you're out and if the light is fairly consistent, a JPEG file is fine. There's nothing wrong with it. Where I really need the
40p.
where I really need the RAW file is when I've got bright sun and dark shadows. That's when I really need that RAW file. So that's why I use RAW. If you're just to talk about editing with a JPEG, I typically edit those on my phone or on an iPad, and I use a program called Snapseed, or I use a program called Lightroom Mobile.
Yep.
So
I love that photo.
But I think everybody can probably find filters and apps on their phone to do basic editing. What I would say is just be careful with it. Don't push it too hard so that the photo starts looking garish. You can change it and do different colors, but just try to keep it a bit subtle to keep people's interest. If it gets too far out there, people go and they stop looking. Now with the RAW file, I'll edit with a Lightroom CC. It's by Adobe. There are other RAW editors out there. So the difference between JPEG and RAW is JPEG, your camera processes the file and gives you a really good file that's suitable to printing. With the RAW, the camera doesn't process the file's not suitable for printing, and you have to use the power of a computer to actually process that RAW file and get something that's worth printing.
Right, actually, and I think the penny's dropped. You want to use and to access a photo using a computer and using the most of the computer.
That's right, the power of the computer.
Yeah. You use the RAW file to
That's
utilize
right.
it because it's set up for I guess the JPEG has a closed system.
That's right, and it's small and it's like there. Your phone can do that really easy. Actually, your camera does a really good job of processing a JPEG file. The JPEGs that come out of the Fuji cameras I shoot with are really, really good. Some of them I don't need to touch at all. But when I get into this sunset, sunrise, or bright versus dark conditions, I've got to have a RAW file. Otherwise, I get something bizarre, or I'm not getting what I want.
All right, now look, we're going to the last 10 minutes. So firstly, thank you very much, Dale, for coming in and covering some of the basics of editing and why and what to edit as far as JPEG and RAW. And actually, how do they get? Look, you probably mentioned this, but once again, how do they get a RAW file from a camera?
Well, there's
or is that just linking the computer up to the camera?
Yeah, it's either linking by a cable, or nowadays what people tend to do is pull the SD card out of the camera, and most laptops and computers have slots on them. You just stick it in there. If it doesn't have a slot, you got a card reader and you pop it in that and read it straight in that way.
Oh, perfect.
So you do need special software in order to view a RAW file on your computer, and there's a lot. You can just do a Google search and find those to get them. The file itself is not very pretty. When I look at my RAW files, they're soft, they're not very sharp, they're kind of dull looking, but I can do a lot with it.
Oh, very good. Yeah, exactly right. So, and I think also what you've done, especially with this one here, with taking out the shadowing, I think
we're looking at the shot there of Cadillac Canyon in San Remo.
Thank you, Cadillac Canyon. Yep. And what you're talking about is lifting the shadow. When you're lifting, there's no the Photoshop there is just lifting the shadow, but you're leaving the real image there, which shows me and tells me what you're doing isn't actually changing the photo. You bring the photo to what it really truly should be looking like, to what you've seen in the shot until a point. I think that shot there on the left hand side, the JPEG one, even before it was edited, I think that wouldn't have been what you saw.
No, well, I mean, there's a few things there. You don't see the water looking like that.
Yeah,
because that's shot. I shot that in an 8 second.
Well, I was going to ask you, how'd you use the Jedi powers to slow down the water?
Yeah, look, that's a whole different topic, John.
Exactly.
And you're right. It's Jedi powers.
Exactly. Right.
No,
my Jedi powers don't work on the kids, by the way.
No, they don't.
Go to sleep. Damn it. Sorry.
If only it would work that way.
Oh, I'm just going to practice the force.
But that's some long exposure photography, and it was an eighth of a second is what I was shooting at there, so that I did show movement. I like to show movement of the water.
Yeah.
So that was the whole goal there.
I reckon I'm looking forward to that. Now, I'm actually looking forward to our next segment because I'm going to move forward. Is that right?
Yeah, let's go.
Because so we're going to be broadcasting at the market on Main for New Year's Eve from 4 till 9, and this is on New Year's Eve as well. Then we'll have the twilight markets. While we're doing that, towards the end of the market at about 8:30, 8:45, I'll be giving Dale Rogers a call because, Dale, can you take it from here? You're doing something.
Yeah, that's right. So we've got a New Year's Eve workshop. So we're
booked out, people. Sorry.
Yeah, it is booked out. Yep. It's New Year's Eve. It's a adventure-based landscape and astro, which means we'll be doing landscape and star shots up on the Cape Track. So we'll be up there for quite a while. We'll probably end the night down on the beach, and we'll see you in the new year in style. And so we'll excellent. Cross to you while we're out there.
Yeah, we'll actually give you a call, and it'll be good to catch up and see what you guys are up to. More so, look, it'll be the sun would be setting pretty much around that time or
I
close
hope it's
to
a beautiful night. Yeah,
yeah, so do I. I hope it is too. And then at 9 o'clock we'll be signing off because I have a private party to go to, and that's with 2 kids and my wife at home watching the new year coming, which will be lovely anyway. I'm going to really enjoy that. But there is also New Year's Eve. We have the aftermarket party at Cheeky Goose, and they do have the Drunken Ninjas coming out to play now. The 2014, I think they were Triple J Unearthed, number 1 on Earth, so that was good. Now, so I'll just talk really quickly. So we're doing this market. It's going to be quite a huge thing. We'll be also spruiking and telling everybody about the Photo Rangers segment that we have on Thursday nights at 7:30, and we'll have our encore ones at different times in the very near future. In January, halfway through January now, I've worked out that our programming actually starts on something that people can actually look up and go, right, they can actually book themselves in on that time, so I'm looking forward to it. With the group that you have, these regulars have joined up with you before. They've got a few first timers.
It's a little bit of everything. So usually on every one of our workshops, we get people who've come out with us before, and we get people that are just brand new.
Oh, perfect. All right.
So it's a little bit of everything. We've got about 10 coming out with us, so it'll be a big group.
And you've been out there. Were you out there last year? Did you do this one last year?
No. We were actually at the Cows Fireworks last year, set up on the jetty, ready for the fireworks. Yep.
It didn't happen.
I got the photo of the only firework that happened.
The poor guys who burnt themselves are unbelievable. I tell you what, they're not all good though. But I tell you what, the fireworks on Christmas, the Christmas Carols one.
Yes,
I thought it was spectacular. Yep. I thought the finale was the finale could not have been any better. That was absolutely perfect. So, big shout out to the guys who did that as well. So let's talk about some of the different up and coming events that you guys have, and so that it becomes a bit more. This segment becomes a bit more useful to what you're doing. And where are we?
Let's see. Here we go. You can click this one.
Oh, the events. Yeah, events page might be the way.
So Johnny's gone through our Facebook page here, and we're just opening up the events section.
Exactly right. And this is what you guys should be doing. Also, go to the events section of. I was going to say Phillip Island Photo Rangers, but Photo Rangers. And okay, so we have the 31st of December, which we just spoke about.
That's right. So we've got
I'm not yawning. It's all right. I've just been up all night.
Just preparing for New Year's Eve.
Yeah. Well, yeah. The 7th adventure-based landscaping workshop again. Is that right?
So we've got
that's at the prom too. So you're going to the Pinnacles on the 31st.
Yep. And we'll be at the prom the next week.
Okay, so people, you can just jump onto their Facebook page and go to the events. Keep going. So
we've got the prom next week, and then the day after that, on the 8th, we're doing a workshop back out at the Pinnacles at Wollemi Beach.
Oh, nice.
And then later on in January, we're doing a dinosaur discovery photography exhibition or expedition, we call it. It's almost like a scavenger hunt with our cameras. and we explore the dinosaur dreaming digs in Inverloch. That's an absolute blast.
Are you with Mike? With Mike Clover?
Oh, look, I've picked Mike's brain about that area, and he showed me his special spots out there, and we show people how to find some of the really cool stuff out in that
Mike's an absolute
site.
gun.
So
he does actually kids holiday programs.
He does
stuff as well.
He does. I've been out with Mike a few times.
Have you really?
Yeah. I've done his kids holiday program.
So jealous. God, I really enjoyed. Mike and Pip are great. Well, great friends of the
They're fantastic. They're fantastic. And look, and Mike has actually taught me most of what I know around the geology around the island, and I use a lot of that when talking to workshop participants, particularly when we're out at Kitty Miller Bay, and the geology there is quite extraordinary. And I learned all of that stuff from going out with Mike one day and him showing me around. So I really appreciate his time and effort he's gone into helping me out, but also just the knowledge that
Dan, that guy's an outstanding local citizen. He's got so many caps for. Let's see.
He's got a dinosaur named after him. Did you know that?
No.
He's got his own dinosaur.
That just doesn't. He does not.
Yes, he does.
Like a Mike Cleland.
No. It's called a Clelandii.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah, it's like a giant salamander, giant dinosaur salamander.
And he found it.
He found it.
It's his pet now.
Oh, look, it is. I'm jealous.
Amazing. Yeah, I'm jealous too.
I want a dinosaur named after me too.
Yeah, exactly. Listeners, this is Dale Rogers with myself, Johnny Cantoni. We're broadcasting from the Cheeky Goose Cafe 2016 People's Choice Award. We're going to be catching up with Dale Rogers and Photo Rangers on New Year's Eve at 8:45. They're doing an adventure-based basic camera workshop. No,
New Year's Eve
wrong one. Sorry, there is
landscape and astrophotography.
Landscape and astrophotography, which is going to be great. I really would love to come out to I should say, listeners, the amazing thing with Photo Rangers is they've got license to go to places that not very many people can get to. And when you're talking about the whole wide world, you're talking about a very small 0.0% of people that get into those areas. Well, I'm talking about the whole world here, okay?
That's right. It's not necessarily getting to different areas, but there's no one else is able to conduct a business in those areas or to take organized tours there. So I think that's probably the key to the license.
I think it's beautiful.
We're not going anywhere off trail. We stay on track. We talk to people about the reason why we stay on the trail, the reason we talk about the shear waters and the sensitivity of that environment out there. So we're not actually going anywhere different, but we're helping people see things in a different way, both with their eye and also with their camera.
Excellent. Okay, thank you very much, Dale. It is always an absolute pleasure. I really am so chuffed that you come up and spend your time with us here. Hopefully in the future this will really work for us and grow from there. Thank you so much for all the listeners jumping on board, and Cheeky Goose, you make a boating concept, print it fast, create a co-op gallery, turn the page, bookshop, and one thing electronics, but most of all, Photo Rangers, Dale Rogers. I can't thank you enough. I love your effort. I love your style. Your family are just the best, the beezus and kneeses. I can't. Do you know what? That's the last time I'm actually going to build you up, because it just cheapens it.
My head won't fit through that door.
I do. I really appreciate it. I think the world of you. So thanks very much for your time.
No worries. Thanks, Johnny.
All right, people. So keep smiling, stay kind, and stay tuned. Speak soon. We'll see you later. This is the one and only Johnny Cantoni, and never fear, Philip Islandward Radio is here with Photo Rangers tonight. Once again,
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, guys. See ya.